Good morning, everybody. MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video is Application of the 50-50 Concept to Major League Baseball. If you follow this channel, subscribe to this channel, you've heard me talk about this numerous times. We're going to give a real-life example and tell you when you should play the 50-50 game and when you should not. Before we do that, as always, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Ton of content related to sports betting. Also, if you follow me on social media, MGCovers, covers spelled with the Z, I give out a ton of nuggets, things that I see in the sports betting marketplace related to line movement or sometimes a situational angle to consider. If you follow me on social media, MGCovers, covers spelled with a Z. Let's dive right into it. On the left, you see these are my power rankings from yesterday, which would be 6/26/2022, and over here on this side are the results from yesterday for Major League Baseball. So let's define what a 50-50 game is. And you look at this first game. I apologize. I should have copied this from my Google Sheet, so this is just a screenshot, so it might be a little bit blurry looking at it. But Mets are -128 my line, and Miami is -122 my line. So when you look at that from a model perspective, both those teams have almost the exact same line. So therefore, I would label that a 50-50 game. What does a 50-50 game mean? It means the Mets should win 50% of the time in this scenario. Miami should win 50% of the time in this scenario. So, and I don't want to, this is another example of expected value. So I'm going to come back to that, but for now, just realize that this is a coin flip game. Either side can win. So we can expect that if this scenario occurred 10 times, the Mets would win 5 of these games. Miami would win the other 5. Miami was 122, so the value would be on the Miami side. That means that would have been the play consideration for this game. So to break this down in layman's terms where you can see it, if you look right here, and this is basically expected value. What can we expect to make over a span of 10 games? And the reason I use 10 games, it's easy to calculate the percentages and everybody understands that. So what I mean by that is, so we can expect Miami to win 10 of these games, right? So if Miami wins 10 of these games at 122, our profit from those, Miami wins 5 of those 10. The line's 122, we will make 610. If they lose, and they're going to lose 5 games as well, so that's -500. So our expected profit is going to be $110. Now, this is very important here. Our ROI is return on investment is 11%. You say, well, how do you calculate that, MG? You take what you make versus the amount invested. So in this particular example, again, expected value is a hypothetical. But when I break it down, you can see the value with Miami. So what we did is we played Miami 5 times, hypothetically, expect them to win 5 and lose 5 for a total of $1,000. And what did we earn in this example? We earned $110. So we take 110 divided by 1,000. And that's what we call profit margin, ROI. That's the same way people in retail, that's how they calculate their margin. And in investing, we calculate it as ROI. So that's only 11%. So this is a really good point here in this video. The purpose of this, you want to make or strive for at least 15% return in sports betting. So this particular example, even though it's a 50-50 game, we have value with Miami, probably would not have been a good place simply because we're only getting an 11% return on our money. The ideal number to shoot for on ROI in sports betting is 15%. We want 15% margin between our line and the sports books and our ROI in what we're investing. We want at least a 15% return or strive for that. So let's look at another example. We'll scroll down here to Toronto, Milwaukee. You can see Toronto was 135, Milwaukee was 130. So this is sort of the opposite end of the spectrum. You have 2 dogs here. Very similar lines, same type deal. This is a 50-50 game. You can see Milwaukee won that one. The line for Milwaukee was plus 152. So we'll do the same thing. So hypothetically, if we wager 10 times in this scenario, we can expect Miami to win half of those games. So plus 152 times 5 equals 760. And you take our 5 losses. Remember, we're wagering on the dog money line. So if we lose, we only lose that 100. So that would be minus 500. You take 760 minus 500. That gives you 260 profit. 260 divided by 1,000, 26% yield. So that is an excellent return. So if you're comparing those two plays, the better play from an investment perspective would be Milwaukee. All right, let's look at the next one. We had Washington and Texas. Similar to the first game, both these teams are favorites via my line. Now, important point to make about a 50-50 game. The model has to be good. So we know that this model, I wouldn't say this about previous models, the last 2 seasons for Major League Baseball for me, talked about this in the previous video, but this model that I've come up with now for Major League Baseball, really, really, really solid model. We have both these teams as favorites. So your model needs to be good in order to apply this concept. And sometimes you really don't have to have a model. Like, for example, Dodgers Atlanta last night, that was a 50-50 game. However, the books made a really good line. Public perceived Dodgers to be better. That's why the line was sort of shaded in that side. So that was a 50-50 game. But anyway, sort of getting off topic here, but the point is that the model needs to be good so that you can identify that as a 50-50 game. So Washington, Texas, we had them both as favorites. The line, very similar to Milwaukee, was Washington plus 153. Same deal. Add 5 times 153 is 765. There's our 5 losses, 265 profit for a yield of 27%. And finally, the last game we're going to look at is Cincinnati and San Francisco. Again, we have both these teams as dogs. So what the sports books do, again, you said, why wouldn't my line, the sportsbook line, similar to my line? Again, my line has no bias factored in. It's the whole benefit and purpose of having a model because it's statistically driven. There's no bias factored into the line. This line has bias factored into it. Cincinnati is perceived to be a, quote, bad team, and essentially they are. San Francisco was perceived to be the better team. That's why the line was minus 162. However, statistically speaking, San Francisco struggling, and we had this basically as a 50-50 game. Even though Cincinnati was plus 160, San Francisco a little bit better, neither team had more than a 50% chance of winning via my line. So we do the same calculation there. 136 times 5, 680 would be the expected profit. Expected loss minus 500. 680 minus 500 plus 180 for an 18% yield. So one mistake I probably made here in the last couple of weeks, I haven't given enough emphasis to these 50-50 games. So when you're handicapping, sometimes even if you're not a client, you can still look at a game for the most part and see, like, okay, this is a 50-50 game here. Let's say they had made Atlanta plus 150. Well, then Atlanta would have been the consideration for the 50-50 game. So you don't necessarily have to have a model in certain situations, but if you do and the model's good, then it definitely helps. So quick review on this. In a 50-50 game, it doesn't mean you're going to automatically play that game. For example, if this particular line plus 122, probably not worth it. And to show the validity of the model and how this would all work, you look at the 50-50 games. There were some losses in here. Miami, that won. Colorado, Minnesota, that was a 50-50 game favoring Colorado. 50-50 concept, but where is it? Let's find it. But Colorado lost. The next one, I think we had 2 losses in here. Yeah, Detroit, Arizona. You see it on here, Detroit, Arizona. Yep, Detroit was plus 126, Arizona minus 160. They lost. So if you add all these up, so we had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 2 losses, 6 total 50-50 games, and 4 of those won. But again, you can expect about 50% to hit long term. So if you haven't already, regardless of the sport, if you don't have a model, if you got 2 really good teams playing each other, the books are going to have to make one the favorite. They're going to have to make one the underdog. The value is going to be with the dog always. Same deal in a game like Cincinnati-San Fran. They're going to have to make one team the favorite, one team the dog. Value is going to be with the dog. If you want access to this model, $50 per month. There's a link to join in the description. You also get access to all my coaching videos. If you want access to all my plays for Major League Baseball, as well as soccer, we're going to start back wagering soccer here soon. $99 per month. The best value is join for an entire year. You get access to everything on the site. $4.99. You save about $600 on the year. Good luck. Don't forget to put some emphasis on your 50-50 games when handicapping, and good luck this week. Peace.